Welcome to the Talk podcast with ideas strategist Linda Reed-Enever. Talk is where we chat about ideas and inspiration you can use to market your business. Get ready for practical tips you can implement today with your host, Linda Reed-Enever.
Hi everyone, Linda Reed-Enever, and welcome back to the Talk podcast. Today we're going to take a deep dive into infographics. What are they? What do they use? And how to use them to their best effect? Basically, an infographic is a visual representation of information and data. And, we've just done an episode on Talk about stats. Using an infographic to present them is a great way of maybe taking the little bit of the bore factor away from it. So in short, an infographic is a visual representation of data. It includes charts, diagrams, other short stories told with pictures and very few words. There is a consensus that a good infographic is worth 1,000 words, providing an effective way to convert information into a memorable and visually appealing form. Now, whether you're a course creator, you're a marketer, whatever you are, using infographics to really tap into the power of distilling knowledge in a visual appealing way helps you tap into that learning style, the visual learner style. For marketers, infographics offer a different way to engage your audience. However, some information lends itself to infographics more than others. So don't create an infographic for the sake of doing it. So let's delve into some tips about how we're going to use them for their best effect. So why are infographics so popular? In many ways, the infographics actually been around since the dawn of time. You think about those paintings cavemen used to etch onto walls, the hieroglyphics used by Egyptians. All of these were infographics. They were telling a story using pictures. So we are technically hardwired to receive information through pictures in a visual format. The last decade or so has seen a steady rise in the use of infographics for content marketing in a bid to educate, entertain, and engage audiences, especially in the world of social media where there is so much information to get through. Sometimes visual is a lot better than words. So infographics are now one of the most popular types of images for marketers, with 30% of content creators crafting their own original infographic information. Why? Because according to the statistics, infographics cater to the way we process information. 90% of the information that is sent to the brain is visual. 65% of all people are visual learners, and 99% of all sensory information is filtered out by the brain immediately. This means only 1% of the information actually gets through to the brain, and infographics are in that 1%. Meanwhile, in content marketing terms, content with relevant images gets 94% more views. So an infographic makes that image more relevant. 42% of marketers have reported that infographics and other original graphics were the most engaging, and this was higher than any other form of visual content. Infographics can increase website traffic by around 12%, and as an editor of a business publication, the amount of requests I get to be able to put someone's infographic and link it through to their website, I can see why. 81% of people skim the content that they read online. The average user reads about 20 to 28% of the actual word itself, so using an infographic powers that up. And infographics are liked and shared on social media 3 times more than any other type of visual content. So that's an opportunity that we need to tap into in our marketing. So that's why they're popular. The stats tell us. Okay, when to use an infographic. Like any content, using infographics is about offering them at the right place and the right time. So here's a quick checklist of opportunities when you might consider using an infographic. When there's lots of data. Infographics break down the data and statistics into a visual compelling form. When the information is hard to understand in written form, maybe it needs a flow chart or it's complex and you just can't get your head around it, it's a good way to tell the story in a visual option. If you haven't used too many recently, infographics are part of a wider content strategy and as such should be used sparingly. You don't want to bombard your audience with just all infographics, but rather use them when they'll offer something relevant and value. So that means that your audience is going, oh my God, I need to see this. And if your audience likes them, just like some content leads itself to infographics, some audiences absorb them more readily than others. If you trialed them for your audience, and when I mean trialed them more than 2 or 3 posts, trial them actually quite regularly, and your audience isn't that into them, then find a different method of relaying that information. And that might be using an info-based video, using a tool like Lumen 5 or something like that. So 9 tips now. We'll wrap up this Talk podcast episode about helping you create your infographics. 1 is a good story. Okay, a great infographic tells a story using pictures and few words. So consider the story you're trying to tell. Is it interesting? Is it pertinent? Is it timely? Is it relevant? And make sure it's 1 story per infographic. A journey. An infographic will quite often take people on a journey. It will also take your audience on a journey from the beginning to the end using pictures or words. So consider where you will start with the infographic and where you're going to finish. A new angle. Just as you use new angles for blog posts, infographics should also feature a fresh take on things when you're presenting your information in infographic. We don't particularly want to repeat it, but we want to maybe do a summary or a fresh view. Practical value. Pretty pictures are lovely, but an infographic should offer your audience value. That's what it needs to do. That's what they're there for. They are one of the key formats of value-based marketing. No one's going to look at them if there's no value in it. That means you should ensure your infographic either offers new information or provides existing information in a new and engaging way. This makes your infographic all the more shareable, which when we're doing content marketing, we want to have happening for us. The next point to look at is a well-structured infographic. Clarity is the key to an infographic, so structure it well. Take the audience through a natural sequence of information from beginning to end, and remember that maybe it's more than one infographic you're trying to put together. We can't squeeze a whole heap of information into one space. We need to make sure it's well spread out and well set out, and that's where your structure comes into place. A key message. While the infographic tells a story, your audience should be able to walk away with one key message on your infographic, and you should be clear on what that is. And that's where it comes back to the good story as well. So once we're checking our structure, make sure we're checking our message is clear. And an infographic needs to be visually appealing because, hey, it's a visual representation of data. So keep it uncluttered, clearly structured, so the content is very easy to flow. The other thing when we look at our infographics is we want to make sure that they are accurate and well researched. As an infographic is all about data, we want to ensure that what we're presenting is accurate, well researched with current and relevant information. And we're short and sweet on the text. An infographic is not a brochure, it's not a traditional blog post or an essay. It's about offering bite-sized pieces of content to help you get along the way. Along with this episode of Talk, I'm going to include with you some handy links to some tools to help you create infographics. My two favorites that I love to work with are Canva and Visme. But if you want to delve into the world of infographics, think about those stats, think about those messages that are maybe harder for your audience to grasp, and see if you can turn them into an infographic, whether that's a pie chart, a presentation, or a workflow that people can work through. Good luck in using infographics in your marketing. I will be back next time to share with you more marketing tips in the Talk podcast.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Talk with Linda Reed-Enever. Make sure you subscribe via your favourite podcast app so you don't miss the next great episode. You can find more ideas and inspiration at lindareedenever.com.au.